I'm going to show you how to make a form or questionnaire in Fusion. You can create a form in any file area, or you can simply start with the Create button in the left menu and choose Form. Give the form a file name and a title. The title is separate from the file name to allow you to put a long title across the top of the form, but you can make them the same if you like. You then have the chance to add an introduction to your form. This could be blank, or it could be as simple as giving instructions on how to fill in the form. But this introduction section opens up lots of opportunities. So you could put in an image, or even an introductory video. It's always a nice idea to include an image in a form, simply to make the form more attractive to users, and also an image helps people to understand what the form's about. Once you've finished the introduction, there are a number of options to choose from. The first one says how many times can each person submit this form. Now this particular form is asking parents to submit their contact details, so you could choose to limit them to one form only. The next option is maximum overall submissions. This is really useful if you're using the form as a sign-up form, perhaps for a trip or activity. And let's say you have 15 places available. You can limit the form to only 15 submissions. Anyone after that trying to fill in the form to sign up won't be able to fill it in. The details of anyone filling in this form will automatically be recorded, so the system knows who's logged in when they fill it in. You may, however, want those submissions to be anonymous. This is useful if you're using the forms for voting purposes, or for something like a suggestion box. You can tick to allow people to see their submissions after they've submitted their form. But the rest of these settings relate mainly to quizzes, apart from the bottom where you can change the colour of your questions. In reality, however, you probably don't need to change any settings in your form, as the default settings work very well for most forms and questionnaires. So all I've really done is put in my file name, title, and something into the introduction section, and then say continue. Once you've finished the basic setup, the next job is to start adding questions to your form. You click here to add your first question, and you have a choice of question types. So I'm going to go through the form using different question types to give you some examples. So let's start with a single choice question. This is one where there's only one possible answer out of a choice. I'm going to start with a simple rating question, and to help people rate this I'm going to give them a scale, and then I'm going to put in the possible answers at the bottom. Now I want to put 1 to 5, so I need 5 boxes here. You can see the little green plus, so I'm going to use that to add the 5 boxes and fill them in. Then once I've done that, I do have a choice of whether I would like radio buttons or a drop down here, but radio buttons are appropriate for rating. And I create my question. At any time you can go and view the form by clicking here, and I can see how I'm getting on so far. When you finish checking out the form, you just click this bar at the top to close it. Now that I've added my first question, you can see some of the options. I can use this to insert the next question. I can go back and edit the question I've done. I can delete this question. I can create a clone, and that's quite useful if you've already set up a particular kind of question. And I can copy it to my question bank. So let's go ahead now and create the next question. For this one I'm going to use a multiple choice, and I'm going to insert it after that question. Write in the question at the top, and again add my options. With multiple choice questions there is an option at the bottom to limit the number of answers that someone can give. So I could say I only want parents to specify 2 ways that they might be contacted. When you're happy with that, create your question. Now I'm going to gather the parents' contact details and start with title. So I click to add question, and this time it's going to be a single choice one again, but I'm going to use the drop down option. Put in the question, add the options, and this time at the bottom I'm going to specify a drop down menu and create the question. For the name, I'm going to use a text question. So again, add question, text input, put in the question, which is name, and for text input, you simply choose whether it's a short box or a long box that you provide for people. As it's only a name, this one, a single word or phrase, is fine. You do have the opportunity to limit people's word count if you need to. And create question. So let's take a look at our form so far. So we have a single choice question where you only have one option. We have multiple choice where you can put up to 2 options. Tick 2 and it says you've done too many after that. My title is a drop down and I can type in my name. The only other thing you might need for a form is some sort of separator on the page, either to separate the sections of a form or to produce some content into the middle of a form. Perhaps you want people to watch a video before continuing with the remaining questions. To do that, you add question as normal, but this time you choose content block. The content block does have a title, but the title doesn't have to be shown in your form. You have an option not to include it, but you do need it so you can see in the list of questions what it is. And then you can drop the content in. And I'm just going to add a video here. When you've added the content, move down the page, and you have the option not to show the title in your form, or to display the title. I'm going to display the title just so you can see what it looks like. And create the question. Let's look at our form now. So you can see the title appears in a coloured block and then the content goes underneath it. My form is now sitting in My Files as a file. There's a couple of ways you can share this form for people to fill in. The first is simply to move the form to a class or a learning space or a school space so that the appropriate people can see it and fill it in. But that's quite a passive way of sharing. I could attach the form to a blog or even homework and task lists if it's aimed at students. Or I could share the link with the form. If I open up the form, this icon here provides me with a private link. The link is private because you must be logged into Fusion to complete this form. However, you could share this link with anyone, even via email, and when they click the link it will take them to Fusion and they will have to log in first. Another option is to take this link and to link it to something in the advertiser. If you're using the link option, you don't need to move your file out of My Files, it can stay there. The other thing you need to know about forms is that the person who creates the form is the owner, and only that person can see the data that's gathered by the form. If you want to share this form with colleagues, you can copy the form into a shared area, and your colleagues can come in, add it to the clipboard, and move it to somewhere else, and as soon as they've copied that form, the new version of the form will be theirs, and they will own the data that's gathered by it. So each new copy of the form is owned by the person who creates it. To see the data that's been gathered by your form, open up the form and click on the Results button top right, and you'll see a list of all the submissions here. You can view an individual submission, or you can click the Export button to view a full table of all the submissions, and you have the option here to download the results on a spreadsheet. So that's how to create a form or questionnaire in Fusion.